Hello everyone, you are welcome back to this training. So today we are going to be continuing and we are going to be seeing operators. So operators are just symbols that are used to perform some actions or operations like arithmetic operation, comparison operation and all of that on operands or on values or variables. Okay, so let's see the ones we have in Python, and these are also applicable to other programming languages too. The first one I have here is the arithmetic operator. So, arithmetic operators are used to perform mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and all of that. And then we have the comparison operators. They are used to compare expressions or operands. Example of that is greater than, less than, greater than, or equals to, and all of that. So this we always evaluate to either true or false. Then that will lead us to the logical operator. For the logical operators, they are used to with expressions that actually evaluate to logical values. I mean the Boolean value true or false. Okay, we have the assignment operators. These are used to assign or reassign value to a particular variable, like our equals, and then our plus equals, our addition assignments, subtraction assignments, multiplication assignments. We'll see them when we get to the practical section of the training. Then we have the identity and the membership operator. I actually just put them together because of space and all. So the identity operators are used to check if two operands are the same, while your membership operator checks if an operand is a member of another, if it's in another. So we'll see example of all of these as we go on. So I want us to see the difference between operand and operator, so that I'm not just saying that. All right, so we already know what operators are. Then let's see operand. Operand is they are those values, or I mean they are those values or variables that you are performing your actions on. Okay, for example, if I have a variable a, that is an operand. I have a variable b, that is another operand. Then operator, like we've mentioned, different operator, plus, subtraction, I mean minus, or whatever one. So here I'm using plus. So by the left I have an operand, by the right I have another operand, in between I have an operator. Now we can also have unary operator, which just acts on a single operand. So that is what we see here. Minus b, it can be plus b, and this can also be values too. They don't have to be variable. I can have 2 plus 2 here as well. So I would like us to get to the practical session immediately. So I'm going to be showing us how to use operators in Python. So operators can be seen as, of course, your symbols that are used to perform some operations, mathematical operation, arithmetical operation, comparison operation, logical operation, and all of that. Okay, so we are going to get right into it. We have different ones in Python, and I think they are also applicable in other programming languages as well. So the first one I have here is the arithmetic operators. Okay, so the ones we have are the ones that we have in mathematics as well. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, floor division, exponential. So right here I created two variables, a and b. I assigned 7 to a and 4 to b. All right, so what I'm just doing is I'm just going to be printing out the result of each of these. Sorry, there's a mistake here. There's an extra bracket there. All right, so I have for addition, for subtraction, multiplication, division. The difference between the division and the floor division, we are going to see that the floor division is used to perform like integer division. So it's going to divide, but then instead of giving a decimal or a float result, it's going to give an integer result. So let's see the output. All right, for sum, 7 plus 4 is 11. Subtraction, that's minus 3, because I have b minus 7. So it's going to be negative number. Multiplication, 28. Division, 1 point. I want you to note the division value 1.75, and then say the floor division. So this performed an integer division, so returned the integer number, the whole number, and then truncated the decimal number there. All right, the modulus is like the remainder of whatever that was divided. And then we have the, yeah, we've talked about exponential. All right, so let's move straight to comparison operator. For comparison operator, there are those operators you use to, compare two expression or the output of two expressions or values or operands. So here a and B are our operands as usual. Okay, so I believe we know that the values are 7 and 4 respectively. Okay, so I'm going to print if A is equals to. Now we'll see the difference between this equals to and the equals to that is used in assignment. This is just comparison, comparing if the value stored in A, it's the same thing as the value stored in B, or is equals. So, and then we have the not equals using this sign with equal sign, and then we have the greater than, the less than, the greater than or equals to, and then the less than or equals to. All right, so I actually don't have to highlight this for it to run. Okay, so I have my output here. I have A is equal to B. Note there was one that actually added this question marks when I was putting the print statement. Okay, so is A equals to B? That is false. Okay, is A not equals B? That is true, because A is obviously not equals to B. Now comparison operator actually what's it called now, output to what's it called now, logical, it gives logical output, boolean output rather, false or true, true or false. Okay, so that's why most of the results, all of the results we are seeing here, is either it is true or it is false. So it gives a boolean result. Okay, then we have, is A greater than B? Is true. 7 is greater than 4. A less than B, false. A greater than or equals to B is true. Of course, is greater than. A less than or equals to B is false, because obviously B is less than A, right? So let's see, to assign or reassign excuse me, assign or reassign a value to a particular variable. So here we have different assignment operator. The one that is common that we have used before is the equals operator, this one right here. This was used also when we were talking about the comparison operator, but the difference is here we have the double equals, which represents equivalent. You're trying to check if the values are equal, but here the single equal sign, it's used for assignment, to assign a value. So what I'm just doing here is I'm assigning the value of B, the variable B, to A. Already A was 7, so that means at this point A will now be, okay, so I'm just going to comment this out and run this. At this point A should now be 4. So let's see. So A is no longer 7 but 4, but the value of B still remains 4. So let's see. Then I'm going to comment this one out too. Right, so we have the plus equals. The plus equals just add the value you're trying to assign to the value that exists in the variable already. So let me just break that down. So A plus equals B is the same thing as saying A is equal to A plus B. Yeah, so this is just going to do the same thing. Okay, so let me print out this result and see. So what this is saying is, take B, add it, and add it to what we have in A already and assign it to A. So let's see what that does. So we're going to have 8 because 4 was in A. Now we are adding B, which is 4, to A, right? So let's see what A minus equals does. This is just going to do similar thing with that other one too. Yeah. going to leave this. Okay. All right, we have 0, and that's because we had 4 in here before, and then we are saying whatever that was in here, subtract what is in B from it and store it in here. So right now, what was in here was 4, and then what was in B was 4. Now we are subtracting 4 from 4, and we are assigning whatever the result is back to A. Then we are going to be subtracting 4 from 4, from 4, that will be 0, and put 0 in here, and that's why the value of A will result into 0. Okay, so let's see division. So the same concept actually. So this is just going to do the same thing as well. I don't know if I'm supposed to actually repeat that, but divides what is in here by what is in B, and then assign it to here. That's what that one is doing as well. All right. So let's see. Put it back in the comment. Multiplication does the same thing. Modulus does the same thing. So most time you're not just printing this. You're actually using it in a bigger expression or something like that. So. Right, so you can try any of these, try them in your, what's it called now? Try in expression, using it in a full expression. We'll see that actually if we get to that point. Okay. All right, so those are the operators we have. Just assignment operator, just think of all the operators we discussed earlier and then try to use them with your assignment operator, which is your equal sign. Okay, so you combine your plus with equals, it means you are trying to add a value that was in another and a value to an existing value and store it in whatever variable that you specify to store it in. And it's the same concept even for the other ones too, down to exponential. I didn't print the result for exponential here, but it's fine. So let's go to logical operators. For logical operators, right? So logical operator I just used to um, find out or to check whether an expression is going to evaluate to true or false. Okay, so we have two expressions. You want to know if they will evaluate to either true or they will evaluate to false. So they are basically used in decision making. We are going to be using this a lot actually. Okay, so let's see. Let's um bring out two expressions. But before that, what I will just do is by default, I will assume that my first expression evaluated to true, and then my second expression evaluated to false. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform. We have three of these logical operators, right? We have the hand operator, the hand logical operator, the whole logical operator, and then the not logical operator. If you are using the and logical operator, it can only evaluate to true if the two operands or the two expressions you are comparing are true. I mean, if they both evaluate to true. And the same thing with or will only evaluate to false if the two expression or operand are actually false. So if you have an or logical operator in between two expressions, is going to keep being true so far there is one expression that is true. If it is and, it's going to keep being false so far there is one expression there is that is false in it. So let's just try that. Now I have true for my first in quotes expression and then false for the second expression. So I want to actually print and see what, sorry, A and, so I'm going to see the result of A and B, which is true and false. I'm expecting to actually see false based on the explanation I just gave. So let's see. Yeah, so that's the result is the first value we are seeing here. So that's false. So what if I change this value to, I swap this and then this is false, why this is true, I will still expect to see false because there is at least one false. Okay, so let's see. Yes, the result is still false here. I want you to look at the first one actually. Let me just comment this out so that we are not confused. All right, so we have false as well. So what if I just change these two to false? Then I'm still expecting to see false. So I will only get a true result when using AND operator if the two expressions or operands I'm comparing are actually true. So if this is true and this is true, then A and B is actually going to be true as well. Okay, so let's move on to the second one. I'm going to comment this out now. Let's move on to the OR operator. Friends. Now, based on the explanation I gave for all is going to be true so far there is at least one true in the expressions we are trying to compare. Okay, so the two expressions we are comparing is A and B. The two operands are A and B. So the A is true and B is true. Obviously this is supposed to output to true. Yes, so what if this is false? If any of them is false, I doubt if this is going to be true. Okay, it's going to be true because obviously this is there is at least one true value there. Okay, so what if I have, let me see, false and then false. Okay, so that will be false. So I hope that explanation is actually clear. Okay, so whatever combination whatever if you put true to be the first expression, I mean the result of the first expression or the second, it doesn't matter. So far there is at least one true, the result is going to be true. Okay, so let's see for not. So not is just like negation, right? Whatever it is that you have in your operand or expression, whatever it's evaluated to, is going to negate what the result is. So if you have true before and you want to get the not version, okay, it's going to just give you false. If you had false before and you want to get a not version of that, is going to just give you true. Okay, so let's see not B. I want you to guess what that result is going to be. I already know. So B here is false. Okay, so let's see what not B will be. And that will be true. So I don't want us to waste so much time on that. So that is it on logical operators. So we'll see this when we get to conditional statements. Okay, we'll see this. This is used a lot, and okay, maybe I can change this to an expression that we used earlier, a comparison operator. So A greater than B is an expression, and then maybe A not equals to B. All right, so I'm going to put this in. Maybe I'll call this x1, expression number 1, and this is expression number 2. Okay, so if I'm going to do the same thing that we did earlier, I'm just going to say x1 and x. So the usage is mostly like this, where you have expression being compared. Okay, you have one expression here, A greater than B and A not equals to B. Okay, so let's see what this is going to give us. I'm just going to comment this out. This is evaluating to true, so let's see how that works. This evaluated to what? A greater than B. Can we just print that out and see what this gives us? X1. Okay, and then let's print this as well. Right, so I will know where that other result is coming from. All right, so this is true and this is also true, and that's why we had the result, the final result here, using our hand operator to be true. Okay, because the two statements are actually true. If I should change this to less than, maybe I'll still have, okay, so I have false for this, A is not less than B, and I have true for this. So the result is obviously going to be false because I'm using AND operator. If it's the OR operator, the result is going to be true because at least one of them is true. So that's it about logical operators. So let's get into identity operators in Python. So for identity operators, right, you want to check if two variables are identical. Okay. Now you want to know if they have the same data type or the same memory location. Okay, so that's what makes them identical actually. All right, so I have two variables that I've created. I mean, A and B, the same A and B that we've been using. So at this point, I'm just going to change their value for the purpose of what I want to do here. So I have this to be 78 and this to be 74. Obviously, these are actually the same values being assigned to the same variable. So let's just confirm if A is B. I mean, this is not the same thing as the equivalent, I mean the comparison operator that we dealt with earlier. So we want to check if A is identical to B, if it is the same thing, if it is identical. So let's see, let's print the result of this. Okay, I think I already printed this, but let me just run that again. So we have true. A is B because they have obviously they have the same data type and they have the same memory location. So let's just change this to maybe a string value. The data type has already changed. Okay, so let's see what we are going to have in our result now. So that will be false now. So they are not identical variables. Okay, so let's see, this not part is actually just doing the opposite of what this is doing. And I want you to see this the way we saw the not operator under logical operators earlier. Okay, so A is not B. Let's see, that is just going to give us true because we know obviously A is not B. So most of these things actually, one thing about high level programming is most of the terms, most of the syntax are actually similar to your English, I mean, language that you speak. So you can easily just tell what what this syntax is all about or what is actually doing. Okay, so let's go to membership operator. I'm going to comment this out. For membership operator, you are trying to check if a word is in another word. I mean, that's an example. So if I have this search string, maybe I have a site or an application where they can search or even your normal Google search, and I want to be able to extract words or be able to tell what word is in their search. Okay, so I have this search and I assign what is Python to it. So using a membership operator, I can actually get whether the Python is in this search string that we have here. So I'm just going to see, this is this, I want to see if it is true or if it is false. So that's true because Python is there. Okay, so let me play a simple trick and change this to lowercase. Of course, it's still Python and Python is still here. So let's see what the result is going to be. Okay, so that is false because we talked about case sensitivity. This will always appear almost everywhere. Okay, so if I change this back to capital P, then I'm going to be having my true actually. What if I want to check if S is here? Obviously, S is there. True. Okay, so you can even check character. What? Let me see if I can check if there is a space in the search. Yes, true. All right, so that's it for identity operators. We've talked about the logical operators, we've talked about the arithmetical operators, we've talked about the comparison operators, and all of that. So we are going to see how how expressions are actually evaluated in Python and even generally in other programming languages too shortly.